Do you want to start photography, but it feels like it's too complicated? What if there was a way to make it much easier? What if someone who doesn't know anything about photography can become an expert with coaching from a professional photographer with over 20 years of experience? On this show, that's exactly what we are going to do. Follow Maria Jose and her photography journey, where I take her from a complete beginner to a fantastic photographer. I am Ranieri Pallavicini, and this is Light Camera Confidence, a beginner's journey to content creation. Welcome to the new show, Light, Camera, and Confidence, a beginner's journey to content creation. So I am Ranieri Pallavicini, and I'm your host, and my guest here is...
I'm Maria. Nice to meet you, everybody.
Awesome. So tell me, do you like the camera?
I loved it. It's incredible the amount of things you can do with it. And I don't even know half of it yet. Like, really?
I was very impressed. To be honest with you, I was really impressed to what you showed me. I know a couple of weeks ago you shot some pictures, and I really like it. I really like it. So I'm going to go over these pictures you sent me. So welcome everybody. Welcome for joining us. And let me just go to this picture right here. I see here that you took it at night. And how do you take this picture?
It was automatic. I just looked for the right angle, or the angle I consider was the best, and then placed the camera on the ledge and took several pictures of it.
Okay. When you take a picture, do you put the timer? No, right? Or you did?
Hold at the bottom.
Hold the button and shot. Okay. So I'm going to tell you right away, very quick, how to do when you do a nice shot and the camera's in a tripod, the first tip is that you might want to put this in a timer. So in this case, we are going to press this left part of the wheel right there. So go down. Right there where it says number 10. Now go to the right and put it 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Yeah, 2 seconds is fine. Now, if you take a picture now, it's gonna start. So just press it. Yeah, just press it. So just press it, and let's say that the camera is in a timer. In a tripod. So just see how this is going to blink. But you didn't finish pressing. Okay.
Oh.
You see how it's blinking here? So and then it's going to it took the picture. So basically, it's just a timer so the camera doesn't move when you do long time exposure. So this picture is good. I'm going to tell you a couple things that how you can get better. Put it in the ledge or in a tripod, whatever you have on, and you might want to have more clarity, or not clarity, but like this is very underexposed. So what that is it's just dark. You want to have this a little bit brighter, right? So how you do that? With time, because the camera is not going to move because it's in a tripod or on a ledge. So just drop the shutter speed. How you drop the shutter speed? So if you have 30 of a second, you're going to put a 15 of a second, or 10 or 5 or 1 second open. So and take another shot. And when you take another shot, you will see how the camera is behaving. If it's too bright, then start closing the aperture a little bit more. This camera, this kind of picture, because it's like a landscape basically, right? So you might want to put the f-stop at f8. So now we're not talking about automatic. Let's take the mind out automatic and let's put it in manual. So you just grab this here, and this will move the shutter speed. This will move the aperture. And the wheel in the back here, if you press this button, it's going to be the ISO. And we're going to go in depth in a minute. So the first thing that I would do is drag the shutter speed. So you see that 125 start dropping down. So you see how the less speed I put, the brighter everything becomes. You see? So that's the first step. So here, after you take the picture, of course, if you want to recover this picture because it's a beautiful picture, you just go to the shadows and trying to gain more shadows, right? Gain more shadows. Basically, that's where we are here. Now you see these cars. If you want a trail of light on the car, that's gonna become automatic when you drop the shutter speed. So you can probably take this picture at 5 or 10 seconds open. Now it's gonna be a lot of lights, so you're gonna have to close the aperture, and also the ISO, drop it down, because at that time we are absorbing, or we are getting the light from the shutter speed. So you will have light because of the amount of time the shutter is open. So don't worry about the artificial light, the ISO, because you put it low, because you're gonna get the light through the shutter speed. And basically that's a beautiful picture. I really like it. Of course I will, probably do a little cropping or something, but basically that is it, right? Trying to have a little bit more proportion. You don't want something to stick in the middle or something like that, right? Like a stick from, so a little bit more proportion. Have a balanced picture, okay? So let's go to the second one. So the second one, I really like it because do you shot this in automatic as well?
Yeah, I was a bit afraid of using the manual, but I think the more confident I get, the more I will probably use it. I'll get there.
Yes, no. Of course. So this is what I think. These lines going into the edge of the pictures, this line drive your eyes all the way to where those lines are going to, right? Which is very, very nice. I really like this picture. I don't know, it's really cool. Very little to do to this picture. For you as a beginner, it's a fantastic composition, I would say. Fantastic. So pretty much basically nothing to do there. Here you are taking advantage of the lens. So do you shot this in automatic as well?
Yep.
Wow, beautiful. So what that tells you is that anybody that trying to spend money or trying to say, you know what, let me get a good camera and I don't know anything about photography, can still get good and beautiful pictures. And this is beautiful. I can show you how to do this when you put it in manual, but I would tell you what the camera did. So the camera basically, did you zoom in on the picture or no?
No, I don't have to.
You just got close to that.
It's at my level, so I just
got close
and
got close.
got close.
So this is one of the 5 things to make the blur background, and you did a couple of them, right? One of them is getting close to the subject. So when you get close to the subject, you automatically diffuse that background, that beautiful background. So you did it without knowing. You say, oh, I like this. So I would probably have a little bit more balanced picture on the composition in here. Probably something like this, something like that. And basically that is a beautiful picture. You see the path in there and so on. And yeah, that's just a beautiful picture. Pretty much basically I wouldn't do basically almost anything a little bit brighter. So but it's just beautiful. You can also do a little vignette. Vignette means that you can darken the corners, so you can focus, your eyes will focus a little bit more on the middle of the picture. Beautiful. Like I said, I was really surprised, like, wait, is she a beginner or no? But yeah, on this picture, yeah, very nice.
That's the typical picture that everyone with the camera does.
Very, very nice. It looks like you have a very good eyes for composition.
I have a question about this one.
Yes.
So, well, maybe it's a bit dumb.
No, don't worry. It's no such thing as a dumb picture, though. As a dumb question. Don't worry.
So the target there was obviously the squirrel, but I didn't have like the proper lens to zoom in entirely, and I was scared to come closer because the squirrel would just...
It's gonna go away.
So yeah, is there any trick for that besides cropping, obviously?
So all these cameras have something that is auto cropping on the camera, even if you don't have the lens. So I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm assuming when you grab this lens, you put it at the maximum zoom you had of 470. So if you go to the cropping mode, it's called the APS-C. Oh my goodness, so my APS-C. So APS-C, if you go to APS-C, you can go to menu. So let's go to menu, and this is the menu, the red where the camera is, and here we'll have the APS-C. So if you activate that, you automatically are going 1.5 more zoom on the lens. So instead of 70, you will do something like what is half of 70? 35. So you add 35 to 70, so it's 105. That is the focal length that this converts. It's like having two lenses in one.
It isn't going to affect the picture in any way.
Yeah, you're gonna have less megapixels, yes, because you kind of cropping but cropping on camera, which is very good because you are composing much better. If you were to do it in camera, you will have a little bit more cropping, a little bit more focus. Another thing on this camera is that this is a full frame, remember? You have a lot of information. So don't be afraid to crop later. Like this, what I would do is just a little cropping. You see a little cropping here? So the reason you want to crop is because you want your eyes to focus on what you want. You don't care about these trees in the back. No, you care about what you are taking a picture of, right? And this is my picture. What I would do is obviously make it a little bit brighter, not the back, but the squirrel.
It was against the light.
It's against the light. Look, you see?
Yeah.
And this is called high dynamic range. More high dynamic range that the camera has, you will be able to extract those colors and information. And then we can retrieve a little bit of colors with the highlight, no colors, but like how the brightness there. And this is just beautiful. Makes it a little bit more like that, a little bit more probably. This is really cool. I know you're trying to one of the things is that if you are shooting animals with automatic mode, the camera doesn't know it is an animal. I mean, it knows because it will track it, but something that I can feel will be the speed. That's what you want to probably say to the camera. Oh, I want speed priority or manual, and you can put the speed. If it goes running, then you will catch it in the air. After reviewing, we're gonna go over the what? Shutter speed, ISO,
and aperture.
Those three things that are probably the most important thing. And basically that's it. You have another squirrel here looking at you, and you can do basically the same thing. Just trying to crop it a little bit more, trying to grab the highlights, the shadows, the highlights, put it down, make it a little bit brighter, and so on. And basically that's about it. So I was kind of expecting a lot of pictures, a lot of pictures of everything, and no, like every picture was kind of thought out, right? It was like, okay, what can I do here? That's the beautiful about pictures, that you can freeze that moment forever, right? So without further ado, let me go to the triangle of exposure. So what is triangle of exposure? It's just a triangle, and in the bottom I will put the ISO. ISO is basically how the camera multiply the light, right? Or absorb the light. So you have a value. A value is called, 100, 200, 400. And every time you jump a full value, is called a full stop of light. You will gain double of light.
Yeah, I kind of used it for a picture at night. Because it was a low light environment, and I increased the ISO.
The ISO, okay. Then I will teach you a little bit later that if you're taking a picture of like the one you shot at night, that you don't need anybody sharp in the picture, and you put the camera in a tripod, I will show you how to get light without raising the ISO. Well, I will tell you that later. So for now, the other one, so ISO, aperture, and the shutter speed, okay? So let me say, which one you want to start with? What do you want me to tell you about first?
I'm kind of curious about shutter speed.
Shutter speed do two things. You remember where I showed you earlier where to move the shutter speed?
Yeah, it was right here, and then...
So you put it in manual, and then where you move the shutter speed?
It's like, it was here.
Yes, so if you move it to the right, you will increase the shutter speed. Increase. If you put it to the left, you will decrease the shutter speed. What is the shutter? It's a curtain. The shutter is a curtain going up and down to reveal the sensor that is in the back of the shutter, the back, to reveal and allow the light to hit the sensor or the picture to be stopped in the sensor. And then you close the image here. So that's why you hear like,
Yeah, it's
go down.
it's the thing that happens between the lens and the camera right about here, the things that closes constantly when you make pictures.
Open and closes. Correct. Now, there's different type of shutters, and then we can go later, like a global shutter, mechanical shutter, or electronic shutter.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you later. You don't have to. Don't worry about that. All I want you to do now is trying to understand what the shutter speed do. And the shutter speed is the speed of the shutter or of the curtain going up and down. That do two things. Number one is gain light or allow the camera to get light. And the second thing it does is that control the motion of the picture. That means that if you put too slow of a shutter speed and take a picture, the animal or the person or the car, the airplane, anything will be blurry because it's showing the movement. If you increase the shutter speed, you will tend to freeze that image because you divide in 1 second in many little parts. One slide over 60, that's 60, you cut in 1 second in 60 little parts.
If you faster.
Yes, so it's opening and closing faster. So if you put it one slide 1,000, you split in 1 second in 1,000 parts. Therefore, it's gonna be faster going up and down. Now, remember this, what I said first. You can control the light with the shutter speed. Second, you control the motion blur. The first one, controlling the shutter speed. The faster you go, the less the light, because you're not allowing time to the camera to get through so much light. And the slower you put, the more light you're going to get. Let's say that I want to show you a picture and I want to show the movement. I want to freeze that movement. I want to freeze that. So do you think this is slow shutter speed?
No, it's not slow. You increase the shutter speed.
You increase the shutter speed. Perfect. Because I want to stop the explosion, let's say, that is happening in that volcano, right? So if I increase the shutter speed, everything will be crystal clear because it will freeze. But if I want to show some movement to show that the bird was moving, that's when I don't put it too fast. And I cannot give you a number now because I will trying to freeze it first, and after it's frozen, then I have to decrease the shutter speed to start getting a little movement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like this, right? To show a little movement on the picture, right? You don't want, let's say in a low light situation, you don't want to put the shutter speed very low because yes, you're gonna gain the light, but if the model or the subject moves tiny bit, it's going to be blurry.
To get it.
Yes. My recommendation is this. My recommendation is take the picture and check the picture and blow it up in the camera. You know how to do that? How to blow it up the picture in the camera after you take a picture or not?
What do you mean by blow?
So I'll show you. So you take a picture. So let's say that I want to take a picture of you now, right? So I will increase the ISO here because I don't have too much light. So let's say that I take a picture of you. After I take a picture, I can see your picture in the screen. How I blow it up this picture is just press this button, zoom in. And I can realize, oh, the camera didn't focus right. Or the picture is a little bit blurry. That's what you want. All the time after you take a picture, now it looks sharp here, but if I blow it up, it might be a little bit blurry. You see? So that's when I say, oh, I'm a 15th of a second. That's too slow. And that's what I'm talking about. And then when I see the picture, I blow it up and now it's sharp. You see?
Sure.
And I shot the picture at 8,000 ISO. 8,000, which is very, very high. But these cameras are very good, increasing the ISO and keeping the noise, the digital noise down. So let's jump to the aperture. You already know how to control the shutter speed. So what is the aperture? The aperture is the hole in front of the lens or in the back of the lens that will open and close, that allows how much light, the first thing, allows how much light come through, but also the second thing, and probably the most important, it controls the way the picture looks. So if you close the aperture, you're gonna get less light, but for a physics, then the same thing as our eyes, right? The pupil goes up and down like that. So the plane of focus, what is in focus, will be sharper or not. So what is the plane of focus? Plane of focus is from point A to point B. Point B being the last part of the wall here, probably, right? Point A to point B. That's called the plane of focus. So if I move, my plane of focus move from here to there. That's the plane of focus. So the closest you put the aperture, the plane of focus will be in focus from point A all the way over there to point B. It's called, the right word is called depth of field. So depth of field, the depth of field that is in focus. Okay, so I don't want to tell you so many words, like technical words, because then you're not gonna remember. But what you need to remember is this, that when you close the aperture, if you want everything in focus, you need to close the aperture. Now, I'm not saying close it at the maximum aperture. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to go like f8 and above. Remember, stops is double of light or half of light. One stop, right? And those measurements, you can do it with the ISO, you can do it with the shutter speed, and you can do it with the aperture. So let me go back to the speed, because I already told you about the speed. If you have 1/60 and take a picture and it's perfectly exposed, that picture, perfectly exposed means that it's not too dark, it's not too bright, it is the correct exposure, right? It's good.
Okay.
How do I gain double of light with the shutter speed? I know that picture is completely exposed well, but how do you gain double of light? So you will drop one stop on the shutter speed. So instead of 160, you're gonna do 130. So 1/30, because this is slower by 2 times as much, then you're gonna get double of light. Now, how you get half of light? From 60, you increase it to 120, because it's 2 times as fast. Now you're gonna get less light by exactly half of the light. That's called one stop of light or less stop of light, okay? Now, the aperture, the same thing. They have stops, 5.6, f4, 2.8. When do you want to close the aperture and have everything clear? For what kind of picture?
Landscapes.
Yes, because you want everything clear. Anything that you want to have everything clear, like a jewelry or anything that you want everything clear, you want to do that. You want to increase the aperture, okay? Increasing the aperture, it will do the opposite. Increasing the aperture meaning you, instead of having a small hole, you're gonna have a big hole on the lens. The number will go down with the big hole is.
And it's gonna blur the background.
It's going to blur the background.
Right? And if you have two things like A and B, it's gonna focus on A. I
Correct.
think that's closest to the camera, right?
Yes, depending where you put the focus points. You would think, oh, the larger the number, the wider the aperture. That's like normal, but that's the only thing of the triangle of exposure that is the opposite. So don't think like, oh, which one is it? Oh, it's the aperture. So that's the opposite. And the wider you go on the lens, the less the amount that is going to be sharp. f2.8 or f11, which one I gather more light?
I assume is f2.8 because it's like wider aperture.
Yes, wider aperture. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And the last thing I want to show you today is the ISO. So again, what is the ISO? Is that, let's say that we have this available light now. but I tell you, the picture is too dark. Don't touch the shutter speed and don't touch the aperture. It could be for a couple reasons. If I'm gonna do a portrait of you, how do I get more light on my aperture? How do I get it? Where the number goes, up and down.
If it focuses on me, wider aperture,
Yeah.
lower the number.
Lower the number. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so lower. So each different lens has a different maximum apertures. That means that this lens, the maximum aperture, because it's a kit lens and has limitations. That lens is really good lens, but it has limitations. The maximum aperture is called, the number is f3.5. This maximum aperture is f2.8, which is wider than this one. That being said, with this one, I can blur more the background than with this one, okay? So that's one of the ways to blur the background, opening the wider aperture. So if I give you this lens and I tell you, oh, open it more than 2.8, you can't, because the maximum aperture is 2.8. Now I can tell you to close it, but not to open it more. Another thing is the shutter speed. I cannot go down below 125 in taking a picture of you, because 1/125, if I go below, it can be blurry. It cannot be shot. So those two things you cannot touch. What is the other thing that you can touch to gather light? The ISO. So the ISO the sensor grabs this amount of light, and you can increase the value from 100 to 200, 200 to 400, 400 to 800, and so on, to get double of light, double of light, double of light. So that means that you taking a picture of you, oh, it's too dark. Even before, you can see that it's dark even before you take a picture. You increase the ISO. So grabs that light and multiply that light inside the cameras.
What about the noise?
So that's one of the things. So the higher the ISO, the more noise you will have in your picture. The good thing about it is that the camera that you have, they are such a good cameras in high ISOs. When somebody tells you, oh, that camera is good in low light, what they really want to say is that camera, because when you increase the ISO, it performs very well, giving you very low noise or digital noise. That's what they need. So a different camera that is not a good light, you increase the ISO and it looks horrible because it has too much noise. That's when people say, oh, that camera is great in low light.
I think I get it. All that's left is to practice.
Yes.
When you want to take a picture of a landscape, how do you know where to focus?
In the next episode, I will give you a formula how to take pictures, and we're gonna go all the settings and all of that, how to take pictures of landscapes.
Okay.
For what I teach you already today, you're gonna go and keep taking pictures for what so don't be afraid to put in manual, because now you know how to control the triangles exposure.
I'm gonna quit automatic and hit manual.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. Thank you. For anybody of the audience that have any questions, please put it down below, and I will do my best to answer just about any questions you guys have about photography. So without further ado, until next time, thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye. See you.